Ladies, let me tell you something right now that a lot of women overlook. See, a man might not always tell you what he's feeling, but his body will. A man who's truly attracted to you, he don't need to say a word. He'll show it in the way he moves, the way he leans in, and more importantly, the way he touches you. Now I ain't talking about anything disrespectful. I'm talking about the subtle, intentional, respectful touches that say, I see you and I want you. See, a man who's feeling, you don't just admire you from across the room. He finds ways to connect physically in ways that seem innocent, but they're full of meaning. So if you're trying to figure out whether a man is truly into you, you better start watching where he reaches, not just what he says. When a man places his hand on the small of your back, especially when guiding you through a crowd, helping you through a door, or simply walking beside you, he's sending a message without saying a single word. It's one of the most subtle, yet powerful signs that he's attracted to you, and more importantly, that he wants to establish some level of connection and protection over you. Now, it might seem like just a gentlemanly gesture on the surface, and yes, sometimes it is. But when a man consistently and comfortably does that, especially when he doesn't do it with other women, you need to understand that it's not just manners. It's an instinctual move from a man who's drawn to you. See, that part of the body, the lower back, is a tender, non-threatening, and respectful place to touch. It's not invasive. It's not inappropriate, but it's intimate enough to feel deliberate. A man who puts his hand there is saying, I want to be near you. I want to guide you. I want you to feel my presence. That's a form of subtle possession, not in a controlling way, but in a protective one. It's his natural way of asserting closeness, of signaling, you're with me, and I'm paying attention to you. This kind of touch often happens in public spaces. Think about the last time you walked into a restaurant, a crowded event, or even just across a street. If a man places his hand lightly on your back, just for a few seconds, especially without thinking much about it, that's his instinct kicking in. He doesn't have to look around and think, how do I impress her? He's not trying to show off. He's simply acting on what he feels. His attraction to you makes him want to ensure you're safe, that you're moving in sync with him, that you're connected, even in the smallest of ways. Now here's where it gets deeper. That gesture can mean more depending on how it's done. If his hand lingers for a second longer than necessary, if his touch is gentle but firm, if he places it there even when there's no crowd or no reason to physically guide you, that's not just protection. That's him saying, I like being this close to you. He's finding a reason to maintain physical contact, even in the most casual situations. That's desire working quietly in the background. It's also worth noting that this kind of touch shows confidence. Not every man does this. Some men are hesitant to initiate any physical contact for fear of crossing a line. But a man who's sure about his feelings and respectful of yours will make a move like this because he's comfortable and because he sees you as someone worth being close to. It's not a lustful grab or an inappropriate reach. It's a touch that carries intention, but wrapped in subtlety. When a man touches the small of your back, he's also trying to communicate leadership, and not in a dominant, overbearing way. He wants you to know that he's aware of your presence, that he's looking out for you, that he's attuned to where you are in the room. That's masculine energy in motion. A man who's attracted to you doesn't want to walk ahead of you and leave you behind. He wants to make sure you're walking beside him, or that he's gently leading you forward with care. And that's why this kind of touch is often one of the first signs a man is moving from interest to intention. Let's not forget, too, how this makes a woman feel. That hand on your back, when done respectfully and naturally, it makes you feel seen. It makes you feel considered. You may not even realize it in the moment, but there's a part of you that registers the comfort in his touch, the confidence in his action, and the subtle claim he's making. And if you're into him too, that little gesture can say more than a dozen compliments ever could. This is why women have to be attuned to the body language of a man, not just his words. A man may never say, "I'm into you," out loud. But if every time you step into a room together, he places his hand gently on your back, walks in rhythm with you, and checks his steps to stay close, he's telling you everything you need to know. That's not just affection. That's attraction. That's masculine energy quietly pursuing something it desires. It's soft, it's respectful, and it speaks volumes if you're paying attention. Think about it. When a man brushes a piece of lint off your face, tucks a loose strand of hair behind your ear, or lightly places his hand on your cheek during a quiet moment, he's entering your personal space in a way that requires trust and tenderness. That isn't something a man does with just any woman. That type of touch is reserved for someone he's genuinely drawn to. It's a way of saying, "I see you, I admire you. I want to connect with you on a level that's deeper than just words." And the way he does it matters, even more than the act itself. If his touch is slow, respectful, and intentional, then it's not just about curiosity. It's about comfort. It's about cherishing the moment. Hair, in particular, carries a lot of symbolism. It's often one of the first things people notice, and for many women, it's a very personal expression of who they are. A man who takes the time to admire it, to run his fingers through it gently, or even to compliment it while reaching out to touch it, is showing that he's not just attracted to your appearance. He's drawn in by the essence of you. He's noticing the details. That's an emotional kind of intimacy. That kind of behavior comes from a man who isn't just trying to impress you. He's trying to understand you, to feel closer to you, to let his actions speak what his words may not fully express. When a man touches your face, it's even more intimate. The face is where we express our thoughts, our emotions, our reactions. When someone reaches out to touch your face, to hold your chin gently, to stroke your cheek, or to remove something near your eye, they are entering the most vulnerable space on your body. And for a man to do that with care shows that he has a level of comfort with you that goes beyond the surface. It says that he's paying attention, that he wants to connect with you in a way that feels calm, centered, and genuine. That kind of touch also breaks emotional barriers. Most men don't go around touching people's faces. It's not casual. It's not convenient. It's deliberate. And it means something. It shows he's emotionally present. It shows he's not afraid of tenderness. And when a man can be tender, that's when you know he's feeling something real, not just chemistry, not just attraction, but warmth, care, connection. That's when it moves from a casual interest to something more meaningful. In some situations, it's a moment of comfort. Maybe you're talking about something vulnerable, and he reaches out to reassure you with a light touch on your face. Maybe you're laughing, and he brushes a hair away from your eyes so he can see you better. Or maybe it's a quiet moment between the two of you, and his hand finds your face almost instinctively. That's not something you plan. That's something that comes naturally when emotions are present. Women often wonder how to know if a man is serious, if he really sees them, or if he's just playing a role. Pay attention to those quiet moments, to those instinctive gestures, because a man might say the right things and still not feel connected. But when he reaches out to touch your hair softly, when he cups your face gently, without expectation, when his actions are slow and sincere, that's a man who's letting his guard down. That's a man who's not rushing towards something physical, but leaning into something emotional. And in today's world, that's rare. That's special. So, when it happens, recognize it for what it is. It's not just flirtation. It's not just charm. It's the way a man says, "I feel something for you," without ever saying a word. A gentle touch on your hair or face is never random. It's a quiet confession of interest, wrapped in a moment of closeness. And if it makes your heart pause, it's because your spirit recognizes sincerity when it feels it. When a man keeps finding reasons to touch your hand or fingers during conversation, that's not just casual behavior. That's emotional signaling. Hands are one of the most expressive, honest parts of the body. They're used to connect, to communicate, and to comfort. When a man reaches for your hand, grazes your fingers during a laugh, or gently plays with your hand while talking to you, it's his way of drawing closer without overwhelming you. It's physical, yes, but it's also deeply emotional. He's not grabbing your waist. He's not pulling you in with pressure. He's touching you in a way that feels safe, deliberate, and thoughtful. That's the mark of attraction that goes deeper than surface level. It usually starts small. You might be laughing at something together, and he casually taps your hand. Maybe he gives you a playful high five, but his touch lingers just a second longer than necessary. That extra second tells you something. He's not just responding to the moment, he's reaching for something more. Maybe you're sitting across from each other, and he rests his hand near yours on the table. Eventually, your fingers brush, and instead of pulling away, he lets them stay close. All of this, these little moments, are how a man builds intimacy in a space where words can't reach. Now here's where it becomes more meaningful. The hand is symbolic. Holding hands, even in the lightest way, communicates partnership. It's something people do when they walk together, sit together, or support each other. It's subtle but powerful, And when a man feels something real for you, he's going to want to bridge that emotional gap physically, not aggressively, but softly. When he grabs your hand during a conversation, especially one that's vulnerable or personal, he's trying to do more than just hold you. He's trying to anchor the connection. He's letting you know, I'm here, I'm present, I'm with you in this moment. Touching hands also bypasses a lot of the noise that comes with early dating. Words can be rehearsed, compliments can be smooth and calculated, but touch, especially something as gentle and personal as your hands, that's hard to fake. If a man takes your hand with ease and comfort, there's a part of him that feels safe with you. And more importantly, he's trying to make you feel safe with him. It's his way of asking for trust without directly asking for it. It's his way of saying, you can relax around me. Sometimes the hand touching can get playful. He might trace circles on your palm or intertwine fingers casually. And while it might seem silly on the surface, it's often a sign that he's emotionally invested. That kind of playfulness comes from someone who feels connected, not just attracted. He's trying to create a private world between the two of you, where even something as simple as holding hands becomes meaningful. That's when you know it's not just about chemistry, it's about emotional safety and comfort. You'll also notice that in deeper moments, maybe when you're sharing something hard or opening up emotionally, his instinct may be to reach for your hand. That's powerful. That means he wants to reassure you. He doesn't have all the right words, maybe, but he wants you to know he's there. That kind of gesture says, even if I don't know how to fix it, I'm not going anywhere. And that's rare. That's the kind of emotional maturity that shows a man isn't just interested in your body, he's interested in your well-being. He wants to support you, even if all he has in that moment is a gentle touch. In some cases, it's not even conscious. Men who are truly attracted to a woman, physically, emotionally, mentally, will often find themselves reaching for her hand without thinking. It's instinct. When they feel something strong, they want to connect through physical presence. They want to close the gap. They want to remind you that they're there and that what's growing between you is something real, something they feel deep in their gut. So when a man touches your hand in quiet moments, in vulnerable conversations, or even during laughter, pay attention. That's not just casual contact. That's a man saying, I see you. I'm drawn to you. I want to be closer to you. He might not say it outright, but his touch says it all. In a world full of loud gestures and loud words, a quiet, consistent reach for your hand speaks louder than anything else. It's gentle, it's sincere, and it's one of the clearest signs that his attraction to you isn't just physical, it's personal. When a man touches your knee or thigh, respectfully and in the right context, it's a signal that the connection between you has moved into a more confident, more emotionally charged space. This kind of touch is different from a hug or holding hands. It's bolder, it carries weight, and yet, when done with care and intention, it doesn't feel aggressive or inappropriate. It feels meaningful. A man who reaches for your leg in a calm, composed way isn't doing it just to get your attention. He's expressing interest that's growing deeper and more rooted. It's a sign of attraction, yes, but also of closeness, comfort, and a desire to deepen intimacy. Picture this: you're sitting next to a man you've been getting to know. You're having a good conversation, laughing, connecting, and in a moment of pause, his hand gently rests on your knee. No pressure, no rush, just presence. That's not a random move. That's a moment. And it's often loaded with silent meaning. A man doesn't touch a woman's leg like that unless he feels emotionally drawn to her. He has to feel safe. He has to feel like the energy between you allows for that kind of physical bridge. He's testing the water, but he's also showing you that he's leaning in, not just to your words, but to your essence, your spirit, your body language. It's important to understand that men don't usually take that kind of liberty unless they feel a certain trust has been built. The leg, especially the knee or thigh area, is a more personal space on the body. It's not the same as a shoulder tap or a friendly nudge. It requires a level of emotional intimacy to feel appropriate, and when it's done in the right way, slow, respectful, with no expectation attached, it can make a woman feel cherished, not pressured. It's a gesture that says, "I feel close to you, and I want you to feel that too," not through words, through presence. This kind of touch often happens during emotionally charged conversations. Maybe you're opening up about something real. Maybe you're both sitting in silence, just enjoying each other's company. He might place his hand there to ground the moment, to feel connected to you physically while your spirits connect emotionally. There's a stillness to it. It's not rushed, and the silence in that moment becomes part of the communication. He's saying, without words, "I'm here. I'm drawn to you. I'm present with you." And it's not always serious either. Sometimes it happens during playful moments, a joke, a tease, a soft laugh. He might place his hand there for a second and then pull it back, testing the energy, seeing how it lands. That small act carries the weight of his intention. He's interested in more than conversation. He's paying attention to how you respond. Not to dominate, not to control, but to feel out the mutual energy. A man who does this with care isn't pushing your boundaries. He's showing that he feels safe enough to share space with you in a more personal way. The location of the touch matters. If his hand stays close to the knee, it signals gentleness and respect. If it moves up without your consent or comfort, that's no longer about attraction. That's about control or lust. And that's not what we're talking about here. This kind of meaningful knee or thigh touch isn't about lust. It's about intimacy. It's a physical echo of an emotional moment. He's saying, "This is where we are right now, and I'm feeling it." Men who are emotionally attuned will use touch not to take, but to connect. And a touch on the leg can become a grounding point in conversation. It can bring you back into your body, into the room, into the shared experience of the moment. That kind of physical presence builds chemistry. It builds memory. And if it happens with eye contact, with an emotional pause, with a sincere tone, that's not just a move. That's a message. It also signals that he sees you not just as someone he wants to impress, but as someone he wants to know, understand, and experience on a deeper level. He's trying to close the gap, but not in a rush. He's not just touching your body. He's trying to touch your energy, your trust, your openness. And when that kind of touch happens naturally, it can be one of the most telling signs that what he feels for you is real, growing, serious, and full of possibility.